The story opens in the distant future, in the year 2150. That was the moment when the American government received alarming news. One of their satellites in outer space had suddenly stopped functioning. To investigate the mysterious situation, they decided to send a superhero known by the name Miracle into space. As soon as Miracle arrived in orbit, the sight before his eyes was shocking. He noticed countless tiny fragments floating around where the satellite should have been. But not far from this strange debris, there was something even more dangerous, an alien spaceship, positioned aggressively as if it was ready to launch a full-scale attack on him. Despite the danger, Miracle was brimming with confidence in his own strength. In fact, before even thinking about destroying his enemies, he jokingly considered taking a quick selfie. But in that very moment, a chilling realization struck him. Those weren't pieces of a shattered satellite at all. What appeared to be fragments were, in reality, miniature alien ships, each one armed and prepared to unleash havoc on Earth. At that same time, another superhero, Techno, heard a thunderous explosion echoing through the skies. Alarmed, he immediately tried to contact Miracle. But what he saw next left him completely shaken. Miracle's body was drifting unconscious, falling helplessly from space. Techno wasted no time. He soared upward and managed to catch Miracle before he was lost forever. But fate turned cruel once again. Just as Techno held onto Miracle, the fuel in his jet completely ran out, and now both of them began plummeting toward Earth at breakneck speed. Knowing they couldn't handle the situation alone, the two heroes quickly decided to send out a call for help to the rest of the superheroes. Meanwhile, somewhere far from the chaos, we are introduced to a young girl named Missy. Early that morning, as she woke up and turned on the television, she was horrified to see breaking news about the alien attack that had taken place in space. The story carried even more weight for her because her father, Marco, was none other than the leader of the heroic group that defended Earth. Missy, still shaken by the loss of her mother in the past, begged her father not to fight in this war. She reminded him of the promise he had made, that after her mother's death, he would never again take part in dangerous battles. Instead, he would remain at headquarters, working behind the scenes and ensuring her safety. Marco, honoring his promise, once again reassured Missy that he wouldn't risk his life. After dropping his daughter off at school, he made his way straight to the heroic headquarters. Inside headquarters, the atmosphere was tense. The director, Ms. Granada, was in the middle of deciding which heroes should be deployed to face the alien threat. At first, she considered sending Shark Boy and Lava Girl, believing they would be a strong pair to handle the job. But when Marco arrived and informed her that the number of alien ships was far beyond their expectations, Granada made a much larger decision: to send all of Earth's superheroes into battle together. She also wanted Marco himself to join the team. But Marco resisted immediately, reminding her of the solemn promise he had made to his daughter. Yet, deep within his heart, Marco knew the truth. The world was on the brink of destruction, and this was no time to think only of his personal vow. The safety of the entire planet depended on him. Finally, after wrestling with the choice, Marco agreed. With determination in his eyes, he unsheathed his special katana and prepared for the fight to come. Back at school, Missy tried to spend her day normally. At one point, some girls asked her for help in retrieving a ball stuck in a tree. Missy responded with a faint smile, reminding them that though she was the daughter of a superhero, she herself had no powers to boast of. After her friends left, Missy suddenly found herself approached by two strangers. Without giving her a chance to resist, they forced her into their car and drove her straight to the heroic headquarters. When she arrived, she came face to face with Ms. Granada, who explained the situation. She told Missy that whenever superheroes went out on dangerous missions, their children were placed in a secure underground fort. This way, the heroes would not be distracted by worrying about their families. Missy was no exception, and she too was taken down into the underground fortress. Granada gave strict instructions to the children: remain calm, follow the rules, and stay in their places. Then she left. But the moment Granada was gone, the children began breaking the rules, shouting, playing around, and creating chaos. It was then that Wheels, the son of Miracle, noticed Missy. Rolling over in his high-tech wheelchair, he introduced her to the group. Soon, Missy got to know all the superhero kids. There was Ojo, a girl with the incredible power to draw pictures that came alive. Then there was Capella, whose powerful voice could unleash great energy. And among them was Wild Card, a boy gifted with every power imaginable, but with one major flaw: he couldn't control any of them. At random moments, unpredictable powers would surface, leaving him never knowing what ability might appear next. After everyone proudly showcased their talents, the children turned to Missy, curious about her powers. But Missy hesitated, unwilling to answer, and quickly changed the topic. She suggested they turn on the television so they could watch the live battle between the aliens and the superheroes. On screen, the scene was terrifying. The world's heroes were advancing in unison, facing a swarm of thousands of alien ships. Miracle, still burning with anger over what had happened to him earlier, rushed ahead. But before he could land a strike, one of the aliens unleashed a devastating blow, sending him crashing straight into a building. Shark Boy was swarmed by aliens and thrown violently onto a TV station helicopter. Within moments, he was captured. Meanwhile, Miracle found himself cornered on the rooftop of another building by two alien ships. Though he fought hard, his strength was drained. He too was captured, joining Shark Boy as a prisoner. Lava Girl, enraged upon seeing her husband captured, launched a desperate attack against the aliens' mothership. But in her fury, one of her fireballs accidentally struck Techno, injuring him badly. The aliens wasted no time capturing him as well. One by one, Earth's superheroes fell. Soon, only Marco remained. Though he was the leader, even he knew that taking on such a massive alien force alone was impossible. In a heart-wrenching moment, Marco used his bracelet to send a final farewell message to Missy. Then, with courage, he leapt directly into the heart of the alien army, and like the others, was swiftly captured. With Earth's superheroes gone, the president himself appeared on live television. His expression was grim as he delivered the devastating news. The aliens had sent a message. They demanded that all humans surrender, or the entire planet would be annihilated. Humanity was given only 3 hours to decide. Moments after the president's announcement, Granada appeared on the broadcast. She declared a full lockdown, ordering all children to stay exactly where they were. But Missy refused to sit idle. She told the others that they had to escape before the aliens struck. Wildcard questioned her, asking how she knew for certain that aliens would come for them. In response, Missy revealed something she had noticed earlier. Ojo's drawings always came true. She explained that one of Ojo's latest pictures showed aliens sneaking into their underground fort through the ventilation ducts. This meant they had very little time left. The problem was that lockdown had sealed every exit. Guards stood watch, and no one was going to believe a group of kids. That's when Missy devised a daring plan. She turned to Guppy, the daughter of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Guppy possessed incredible powers, immense physical strength, fighting skills, and even the ability to control water and liquids. Missy asked Guppy to take care of the guards. Guppy charged forward, defeating most of the guards with ease. The last one standing was knocked unconscious by Noodles, another kid who stretched his body like elastic. The group managed to seize the guard's access card. But then disaster struck. One of the guards regained consciousness and slammed his hand on the emergency button. Alarms blared, doors slammed shut, and the entire headquarters was alerted. Their window of escape was closing fast. Before they could react, aliens burst through the pipelines and grabbed Wildcard. Desperate to save him, Missy called on Rewind, a boy who could rewind time. Instantly, Rewind transported them back to the moment before the guard pressed the alarm. This time, Wheels used his quick thinking to stop the guard, and they managed to escape before the aliens arrived. During their escape, Noodles cleverly transformed his body to resemble a tall adult, trying to avoid suspicion. But soon, the children's true identities were discovered. Guards slammed the exit doors shut, trapping them inside. Thinking fast, Wildcard pointed upward to a hole in the ceiling. Missy instructed Capella to use her voice. With her soft yet powerful singing, Capella lifted the guards into the air, and the children used them like stepping stones to climb up and out. On the roof, they swiped the stolen access card and unlocked a cable car. They quickly piled in and began their escape. But just outside, they were confronted again by headquarters staff blocking their way. Capella used her voice once more, lifting the cable car into the air to avoid them. The relief was short-lived. The cable car was now hurtling straight toward a building, and Capella had no control over its direction. At the very last second, Noodles stretched out, grabbed a nearby pole, and swung the cable car away from danger. After traveling further, Capella's breathing grew weaker. Exhausted, she finally collapsed. The children decided they had to hide and rest. Missy suggested they head to her grandmother Anita's house. As they neared the location, Capella completely lost her voice and tumbled straight into Anita's garden. Anita rushed to help and listened carefully as the children explained the situation. With only 2 hours left before the alien attack, Anita warned them that the responsibility of saving Earth now rested squarely on their shoulders. They had no choice but to begin intense training immediately. The kids threw themselves into their training, learning not just to fight individually, but also to work together as a team. Meanwhile, Ms. Granada, using the tracker hidden in Missy's special bracelet, discovered their exact location. As the clock ticked down to just 1 hour before the alien assault, Granada's helicopters arrived at Anita's house. The children barely managed to escape through a secret underground tunnel, while Anita bravely stayed behind to hold off the pursuers. Inside the tunnel, Missy grabbed Ojo's iPad, switching on its flashlight to lead the way. But then something in Ojo's new drawings stopped her cold. She realized that one of the alien spaceships wasn't just hovering in space. It was already close by. In just a little while, they found the spaceship that was nearby. Now, they decided to hide and wait for the aliens to come out, and then quickly run toward the ship. But before they could reach the ship, one of the aliens realized what was happening and ran toward his spaceship. He was just about to grab one of the kids when, at the very last moment, Noodles stretched out his arm and saved the child from the jaws of death. Then, before the alien could get back to his ship, the children closed the door and took off into space. After traveling for some time, they finally reached the mothership and decided to search for their parents. But before leaving, Wheels reminded them that Missy's bracelet had a tracker on it, and that's how Granada was able to locate them. Now, they too would have to locate Marco using the same method. A little while later, as they searched for their parents, they suddenly heard some strange noises coming from beneath the ground. At that very moment, aliens burst through the floor and launched an attack on them. The children panicked and ran ahead, where they found a door. Finally, they reached the center of the ship, where there was a massive pyramid. They saw the President of the United States walking around there, talking to some other people about the alien attack. After the president left, Granada came out from behind and praised the children for their bravery. Granada said that only minutes after their escape, the aliens had attacked the headquarters. If they hadn't escaped, they would have been captured right then and there. Hearing this, all the children were overjoyed. But suddenly, Wills noticed that Granada's vitals were not like those of a normal human. At the same time, Ojo showed them a picture, which revealed that Granada herself was also an alien. At that very moment, the president came back and told Granada that the children had learned the truth. Then Granada revealed her true form and ordered that all the children be arrested. After that, they were captured and locked up in a high-security prison. Now they had to escape no matter what, so they decided to use Guppy's powers. But there was no water anywhere in the prison, which meant she couldn't do anything. That's when Missy told all her friends to cry, so that Guppy could use their tears. Missy told them all to think, what if they never got to see their parents again? After that, the children became sad and began to cry. Then Missy collected all their tears and gave them to Guppy, who used them to form a key for the prison door. At last, they broke free and escaped, and now there were only 18 minutes left before the alien attack on Earth. Missy told everyone to head toward the massive pyramid so they could stop the attack as quickly as possible. But Wildcard didn't agree at all. He said that first, they should rescue their parents so that the adults could fight against the aliens. Wildcard refused to go with Missy, so he took Facemaker with him instead. Facemaker had the power to change his face into anyone's. After walking some distance, they reached a corridor, where soon an argument broke out between them. Finally, the two split up and went their separate ways. Meanwhile, Granada had seen them fighting on the camera, and she decided to capture Wildcard, since he had no control over his powers, which meant he could accidentally destroy the entire spaceship. Wildcard was trying to use his random powers to open doors, but soon Granada and her soldiers captured him and took him to the interrogation room. On the other side, the rest of the kids were still searching for the pyramid inside the ship, when suddenly they were surrounded by aliens. But Missy did not panic. She took charge as the leader of the group and gave orders. First, she told Capella to sing loudly, which burst the eardrums of the aliens. Yet still, the aliens managed to grab one of the children. That's when Guppy activated her shark mode. Now, she transformed into such a terrifying form that no one who faced her could survive. As the daughter of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Guppy used this special power to free rewind and break the bones of several aliens. Soon after, Wheels revved his wheelchair to full speed and told Noodles to stretch his arms. Then he lashed himself onto Noodles' arm, and his speeding wheelchair slammed straight into the aliens. But the aliens stood back up again, and this time they used their long arms to pull chains from the ceiling and capture all the children. Rewind then tried to use his powers to go back in time, but because of the handcuffs, he couldn't. To help his brother, Forward combined his power with Rewind's, and together, they managed to go a little bit back in time. This time, Noodles pulled the chains from the ceiling and tied the aliens up instead. At last, they reached the chamber with the massive pyramid, where Wheels was supposed to reprogram the spaceship's central control. But before he could do anything, a force field appeared all around the pyramid, preventing him from reaching the control center. Noodles was confused. There was no one around. Who could have done this? That's when a voice came from behind. It was Ojo. And then came the shocking revelation. Ojo was actually an alien too. Meanwhile, Granada entered the interrogation room with her men and started questioning Wildcard about his group's mission. But Wildcard refused to open his mouth. Suddenly, through the loudspeakers, Wildcard's voice was heard saying that he had reached the command room. Granada was confused and thought maybe it was a trick. But the truth was that the boy sitting in front of her wasn't Wildcard at all. It was Facemaker. After separating from the group, Wildcard and Facemaker had switched clothes. And then, after noticing the security cameras, they had deliberately staged a fight in front of them. Granada had no idea that their faces were identical, so she mistakenly captured Facemaker, while the real Wildcard reached the control room. Ojo also came to know about this and asked when they had made this plan. That's when Missy revealed that while they were going through the tunnel at her grandmother's house, she had seen on Ojo's iPad that Ojo herself was an alien. She immediately told Wildcard, and together, they came up with this plan. Now, only 2 minutes were left before the attack on Earth. Wildcard disabled the pyramid's force field from the control room so that they could stop the attack. But Ojo could not allow this to happen. She pulled out her pen and began drawing aliens. Suddenly, things started coming alive out of the iPad screen. Missy and her friends braced themselves to fight. Meanwhile, Wills worked to deactivate the timer. On the other side, Granada and her men reached the control room to reactivate the force field around the pyramid. But Wildcard stood before them and said he would never let that happen. Granada asked how he planned to stop her. That's when Wildcard revealed that he had finally learned to control his powers. He flew up and blasted the aliens with powerful electric shocks, and then froze Granada solid like a popsicle. Near the pyramid, Missy and her team spread out in different directions. Missy told Guppy to create ninja stars out of water. Then she told Noodles to form a slingshot with his arms so they could launch the ninja stars at the monsters Ojo had drawn. When Guppy ran out of water, Wills pointed out that the pyramid was made of liquid metal. Guppy then used it to create a terrifying shark, which devoured 2 monsters in a single bite. But Ojo was not one to give up. She kept drawing more and more monsters. To counter them, Missy told Noodles to form a rope across the chasm, and she walked across it herself to lure the monsters toward her. As soon as the monsters climbed onto the rope, Missy ordered Noodles to let go, and she fell along with the monsters into the abyss. But at the last moment, Noodles stretched his long arm and pulled her back up. Everyone was safe once again. Finally, Wills handed Noodles a circuit board to place into the ignition chamber at the very top of the pyramid in order to stop the timer. But Ojo created a monster's arm to knock the circuit board out of his hand, and it fell straight into the chasm. Noodles tried to stretch his arms to catch it, but he couldn't reach in time. Then, one boy jumped into the abyss himself to retrieve it. There were only 40 seconds left before the attack. The boy found the circuit in the chasm, but now they had no way of pulling him back up. Missy contacted Wildcard and asked him to teleport there. Within moments, Wildcard arrived and brought the boy back out of the chasm. Finally, at the very last second, Noodles inserted the circuit into the chamber, and immediately, the entire mothership began to shake. Suddenly, a hole opened in the center of the pyramid, and out of it emerged all their parents. The children were confused, so Missy asked Ojo what was going on. That's when Ojo revealed that this entire alien attack had only been a test to see whether all the children could work together as a team. It was also a training session for them, so that in the future, as heroes, they would be prepared to face such challenges. At last, Ojo said that they had all passed the test, and she joined Missy and her team in making a promise to help the weak all over the world. With that agreement, the ground closed over the abyss, and finally, all the children happily hugged their parents. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.